Avoiding caregiver burnout is an extremely important topic. If we don't take care of you, who is going to take care of your loved one? You may or may not know that statistics show that caregivers are more accident prone. They are more likely to develop health issues of their own. They are at a higher risk for drug and alcohol abuse. They are extremely exhausted and can feel utterly overwhelmed. And one of the worst things is that they can feel completely isolated. Caregiver burnout is a state of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion. Stressed caregivers may experience fatigue, anxiety, and depression. How do we know when we're getting there? Well, I hear things like, I was snapping at my partner, at my parent, whoever it is you're taking care of. I feel like I'm more impatient than I used to be. Or you have no motivation, maybe when you do get a moment to yourself and you just feel like you can't do anything.
So, what leads to caregiver burnout? One of the things is role confusion. It can be difficult and confusing to separate your role as a caregiver from the role that you had as a partner, child, mother, or any other relationship. Sometimes we have unrealistic expectations. You might expect your excellent care to have a positive effect on the health and happiness of your loved one. This might be unrealistic for loved ones who suffer from a progressive disease. Lack of control. You might be frustrated by a lack of money or resources, and I know you certainly aren't able to control disease progression. We have to come to terms with our limitations. Sometimes there are unreasonable demands. You might place unreasonable burdens on yourself, thinking it's your exclusive responsibility to care for your loved one. Sometimes family members or your loved one themselves may place unreasonable demands on you. And the big one, lack of self-care. Can you recognize when you are suffering from burnout or fast approaching it? Bottom line, it's a lot. It's a lot to be a caregiver. There are many symptoms of burnout or approaching burnout. Withdrawal and loss of interest. Sometimes we self-isolate. Feeling blue or irritable. Hopeless or helpless. Changes in our own appetite and weight and sleep patterns, which sometimes happens whether we choose it or not because of the care we're giving. Getting sick more often. Wanting to hurt yourself or your loved one. That emotional and physical exhaustion we've spoken about. And maybe resentment towards the one we're caring for. The thing is, this list is very similar to the clinical definition of depression. The most important question of the day, what can we do to avoid this? What can we do to take care of ourselves?
You're probably familiar with this scene. When you fly, the attendants always tell you if you should need oxygen, you must put yours on first before you can help anyone else. If you don't, you're not going to be able to help them, and you're going to be in trouble too. I know it goes against your nature to think of caring for yourself first, but you really have to. When your needs are taken care of, the person you care for is going to benefit from that as well.
You can't care for your loved one unless you care for yourself. It's important, not only to your mental well-being, but your physical and spiritual well-being as well. Look after your own health by eating well-balanced meals, exercising, getting enough sleep, and taking time off. Ask yourself, in what ways can I do this every day? One small step, even if it's very small, daily over time can have a very big impact. No step is too small.
I know that not everyone can afford hiring help, but I know some people can, but they feel like they should be able to handle everything on your own. I would encourage you to get help if needed. But it is very hard sometimes to find a good agency that is dependable. AARP has put together a checklist for the appropriate things to ask when you're looking for a good agency. I'm not going to go through them all here, but you can pause the video and write down the questions. It is really important to find a place that gives quality care.
I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to prevent burnout from happening. However, the techniques are relatively the same, whether you're approaching burnout or you're in it, or if you want to prevent it entirely. Self-care is crucial. If you want to avoid the dreaded burnout, you have to take care of yourself. Unfortunately, it's usually the first thing that gets sacrificed. You are always faced with competing priorities, so many different important things that are tugging at you when you're a caregiver. But an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. I know it's not easy. Believe me, I know. But it is exponentially easier than trying to dig out of the burnout hole.
I know not everyone is fortunate enough to have supportive people in their lives, but some people do. But you have to learn to accept help. It is truly easier to give than to receive. If you receive, you're going to have humility, which means you need to stop expecting yourself to be superhuman. I remember when this hit me. I was caring for my husband with a terminal illness, and I was stressing because I expected myself to be the same homeowner, mother, wife, pet owner, counselor, all of the things that I do. I was trying to live up to the same standard I had when I wasn't caregiving. You can't do that to yourself. How do you feel when you make a difference in someone's lives? Do you feel important and fulfilled? We feel good when we help people. Don't rob other people of that joy. You need to learn to say yes. When someone says, "Is there anything I can do to help?" or "Let me know if I can help," say yes. In fact, have a list ready. Whenever you do something, think in terms of whether it is a job that can be delegated to someone or not. That way you'll be prepared when someone makes an offer. And of course, you're going to have to also say no. Say no to the extra things that you sometimes do. No extra shifts, no volunteering. You want to limit things to the best of your ability.
Here are some ways that you can help to take care of yourself. The first one I like to call intentionality. Being intentional, being conscious, being fully present in the present moment. For example, if I asked you right now what you're feeling while you're sitting in your chair watching this video, you might say nothing. But if I ask you to be very conscious and intentional, you would find that you can feel the chair underneath you supporting you. You can feel your arms resting on the arms of the chair. That's what it means to be fully present. It's easiest if you can find things
to do that are already in your routine. So, for example, two of my favorite ones are: one, when you take a shower, stop and really think about what you're doing and how it feels. Feel the hot water on your body. Feel what the warmth is like on all of the different parts of yourself. And mostly, before you step into that shower, say to yourself, I am doing this for me and my care. And then allow it to really hit you. Another thing would be if you're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker. Before you sit and take that sip, pause for a moment and say, this is for me and my care. And then take that sip and feel the warmth of it as it goes down your throat, down your chest. These are things that we do anyways every day, but you can take an extra 5 to 10 seconds to be intentional and conscious of the way that they comfort you. These two examples are really good because of their visceral effect. Our bodies are very in tune to what our emotions are. Speaking of that, body scans are another way that you can help yourself on a daily basis. So, again, being mindful, if I were to ask you to scan your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, all you're doing is being aware and noticing. Oh, I feel tightness in my chest, or my forehead is kind of aching. And all you do is listen to that and accept it. It may sound a little crazy, but body scanning is used a lot in therapy and a lot in Eastern thought. And that paying attention really can help you care for yourself. There's always professional counseling. And the last thing is to really break the isolation. Isolation can be very debilitating. That's why your involvement in this group is so important. You know this. No one gets it like another caregiver does. So, say yes. Say yes to help. Say no. Say no to the extras. You don't need extras right now. Tell lots of jokes, even if they're bad ones. Have a smile every day. What do you get when you cross an elephant with a rhinoceros? Elephino. Come on, you smiled. That is the worst joke ever. It's a dad joke. But come on, you smiled even for a second. Make sure you take breaks in your day, even if they're small ones. You may have heard of the law of diminishing returns. That means when you don't take a break, when you don't stop, what ends up happening is because of fatigue, you end up making more mistakes and more work for yourself. After a while, the return on your investment is diminishing. It goes in the wrong direction. Find some rituals for yourself. This goes back to the idea of intentionality. When you go somewhere, stop at the door and say, okay, I am closing my door on this part and I'm going to something different. Give yourself that short ritual that helps you change gears. And get away. I know it feels impossible, but if you work at it, you may be able to get away for as long as you can. Sometimes it's just for an hour. Sometimes it could be an overnight. Sometimes it might be for a week, but you need that total break. Don't assume that it's impossible to do. I know I've mentioned this before. In Chinese, the word crisis is made up of two words, danger and opportunity. This is caregiving in a nutshell. It is the hardest job you will ever do, but it can also be the most meaningful thing you will ever do.